All right, welcome in, my friends. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. It's been a while since I have had a co-pilot on this trip. Today, we bring in, look, one of the best in the fixed ops world with regards to marketing that I have followed, that I have seen. So if you're looking for that information, today is your day. Also, proud sponsor for the first time of our Being Social event this year with Fixed Ops Marketing. Russell B. Hill, how are you today, man?
Oh, man, I'm living the great American dream, Sean.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So, Russell, on the show, you know, we put it in your court. We make it easy. We don't like to have anything predetermined here on these shows. We like to just get into what's up. So, Russell Hill, what's on your mind right now, man?
Right now at this moment, I'm just humbled, honored, and grateful that I'm on and spending this with you and talking about your up and coming event and how we first met. That was what was on my mind at the moment. The rest is just kind of, we'll just roll our own and go with it. But no, I am humbled and honored and grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit of who I am and what we're doing. If we even have time to get into it, you know, et cetera. I just want to connect with your people.
Russell, that's what we're hoping for. As I told you in the pre-show, we're trying to bring service into the room, man. You know, and there's not enough places, I don't think, you know, to get together. Obviously, you have your show. We have the SDL crew. They, you know, there are points of the internet, corners of the internet that include the service area. Yes. But Russell, I don't see it in the show front. I don't see it mainstream yet. What do you think of? Why do you think that's the case, man? I mean, the obvious is because we've always put service behind sales in some weird reasoning. I've never understood it because it's a profit center versus the other. But Russell, why do you think that the shows really don't give that love, if you will?
Well, I think now we're starting to get the liking, and I'm starting to feel some of the love. Now, I don't think it's just because I'm in this space. For those of you that don't know, I actually started selling in 1985. So this is my 41st year in the car business. And I actually worked for Van Tile, cut my teeth with them, and I was running stores at the very end of my career before I jumped and decided to get into the vendor space. And the car business has been really amazing. But even back then, I always worked the service drive. It was just part of my formula, part of my success. I think dealerships are starting to come around because we hear that silo all the time. You know, these departments are siloed. No, we're a team. Together, everybody achieves more. We're under one roof. However, there is things that are taking place and people are starting to come around. Now, even me as a GM, like today, 80 to 85% of the GMs grew up on the variable side. They just honestly don't really understand or get the fixed side, but they connect themselves, we hope, with people that are really proficient with that, because that's important to the financial statement and the bottom line, because that's what carries all the weight, man.
That's what I say, right? So let's circle back to a few things here. Silos, right? I almost thought it was the same show we met at, but it would have been before. It would have been a pre-COVID show where we were in Orlando for one of the shows, and I did a whole presentation on getting rid of silos. I made this joke that I'm from Wisconsin. I put up a bunch of corn silos. I'm like, this is what my countryside looks like. It's not what your dealership should look like. Like, this isn't what this should be. And I get some pushback from, it's funny. I got a lot of, when I posted the show, got a lot of pushback from people not in automotive, people who were like, you know, industry experts and understood business and structure and all this other bullshit, telling me about how everyone has to be in their own pod and they have to do this, they have to do that. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage, because like you, I cut my teeth in Chicago car business. I worked for some of the biggest groups in the late 90s when I got my start. You know, I always joke with people, Russell's been doing this since 1985. I was, you know, it's a math equation. I'm just younger, right? So I've been dedicating my life to this as long as I have had the chance to. And so I saw in the 90s, I saw the opportunity for the service drive immediately. So I began to drive shuttle. It was the first thing I did at my dealership. I approached my GM. I was like, look, you guys are always complaining about your shuttle driver. Can I just get here at 7 a.m. and drive your shuttle? He's like, why would you want to do that? I said, well, I'll see what people work. I'll hear a bunch of things about this dealership you don't even know about. And and more importantly, I'll be able to wrap and rebuild rapport within months, dude. Selling the drive, selling out. I mean, it was just, and this was the late 90s. So I am with you on that. When you talk about the silos, though, what is your approach to breaking them down? How do you see the connection? And I love this because this is what we'll be talking about, folks. Being Social, September 22nd, Madison, Wisconsin. BeingSocialAuto.com for your tickets. This is what we'll be talking about. This silo, this breaking this down. So, Russell, how do we do it from the service perspective? How do we break that down and bring them in?
Let me see if I can connect the dots here. I think dealers are starting to realize that conquesting costs considerable more money than it does for retention. And unfortunately, nationally, 7 out of 10 people defected by the time they end up finished with the warranty period. Now, and because of that, Sean, these aren't my numbers, but NADA says there's 16 independents that surround every franchise dealer in the United States. So I think there's a lot to be said about the speed of the pack being set by the leader. And let me set the stage and back that up with something that I believe there might be some correlation. So a lot of times I'll get dealer principals and general managers online with me because whoever he or she was of the attention that my team or myself got with the fixed ops director, et cetera, has to get the official approval from the dealer principal. So they show up. We're on a Zoom call, or we're on StreamYard, or we're on a Zoom call with the client, and they're typically not on camera, and they see my big old logo, Fixed Ops Marketing. That's all I want them to see as I start my talking points. So I figured out the last couple of years, and this has really made a difference because we're almost 750 dealers. It's like, how do I get your attention, Mr. Dealer, Mr. General Manager? Because they all have some preconceived notion of what they think it is they're going to see at coupons, offers, snail mail, email, something like that. No. Mr. Dealer, dealers are leaking thousands to tens of thousands of dollars from 2 of the 4 profit centers on their website, and that's service and parts. And they don't even know who those people are. Almost 50% of people that show up daily to a dealer's website are looking for service-related content. Now, here's 3 scenarios. There are none, no specials at this time under construction, handful of static images serve no purpose. The third one, which is probably the most common one, I get this, 5 or 6 offers, some content. I still see scissors cutting out a dotted line. Are you kidding me? We're in the 21st century. So I say, listen, you still don't know who those customers are. That is unacceptable on the variable side. So there's a disconnect, and I get their attention real quick. Then they're ready to perk up and see what it is that we're actually doing. Because with our stuff, you know who those customers are. Because Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the biggest talking points today are data, actually more importantly, clean data and AI. Do you agree?
I do, especially with clean data.
Okay, so we get first party clean data from that portion of their website that up until today, they have never been able to see before. They might know how many people came during a date range to those 2 pages. They might know how long they were there, but they don't know who they are. So I think there's a connection between the silos, and they don't even know what's on their website. So I think leadership, strong leadership, is really important to help break down those silos. It's not your fault. It's our fault.
So very true. Let's cheers it up. 750 dealers, dude. No Thank joking you. Around. That's a serious move. And I know that you have been around. You know, you've launched in the last 7-8 years, if I'm not mistaken.
We just turned 6.5.
You turned 6.5. So yeah, I mean that's incredible work.
Thank you.
Really a testament to what you're doing out here, the people you work with. It's really great to see. And again, you're right. Service and parts, again, as someone who lives in data all day, it's my job for my clients to live in their data and understand it, interpret it for them. Every time you meet an agency, it's like a secondary thought. It's like, all right, sales budget. And someone's like, should we spend money on service? And it's like, yeah, you definitely should. And there's not enough of that. And so recently, one of our client here in Madison, Wisconsin, the Zimmer Automotive Group, recently, just great people, been around 60 years. They just recently promoted one of their first fixed ops folks to run a store in their history. And already it has got the same brand that we own on the other side of town going, hey, what the hell is going on over there? Well, what's going on over there is someone who's giving a perspective that no one has ever seen, no one has ever looked at this way, right?
Yes.
And he brought in someone who maybe other people wouldn't have hired in a young sort of unproven woman who has all the fire and energy one would ever want, but people wouldn't have taken a chance on her because she doesn't have that history, right? But he did, and she's unbelievable. She's a star, and so I love it. I love it. One of my first, I worked for the Nissan North America contract as a consultant for them, consulting with their dealers, Russell, before I started CarBiz. And I was out in Fort Wayne, Indiana at Rorman Nissan, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Shout out to there. And the gentleman running the store, his name was Ken Mills, became the GM, and he was a service-based guy, and it was awesome. This was middle 2010. It was awesome because his perspective was like spongy, right, Russell? Like, we have GMs who've been doing this for 40 years. They're not sponges anymore, man.
Right.
They're not. They're not.
Hey, could I shout out real quick somebody that's right there in your neck of the woods in Madison, Wisconsin? And that's Tony Thorstead, a dear friend of mine that oversees Smart Toyota. You're familiar with that store?
Tony, if you're watching, buddy, you were at the show last year. Come
I love you, man.
Russell, man, he loves you. He loves you. Come see Russell at the show, Tony. You were there last year. You told me how grateful you were. I brought it to Madison. I couldn't be happier. Russell, by the way, Russell, he has 2 free tickets. So I don't know what Russell wants to do with those tickets to the show for his dealers. It's up to him, but I don't know, Tony. I don't know. Maybe text him. We'll see if Tony watches the show. We'll find out.
I love it, man. It's good stuff.
That's what we're after. So you talked about leadership, right? And
Yes.
the term is it's overused at this point.
It is.
But okay, good. So what does it mean to you, Russell, when you say the word leadership? What exactly the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, let me fucking tell you what it is. Okay. So I hear management and I hear leadership. Okay. Now, managers light a fire underneath people to get them moving. Leaders light a fire inside of people.
Ooh.
There's a big difference there.
Okay.
I know also that people that focus on the prize are almost always willing to pay the price, Sean, but people that focus on the price almost never get the prize. And so leadership is about, and I learned this he actually became a dear friend for the short time that I did interact with him, as Zig Ziglar, right? You help enough other people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. And I believe what I have attracted and what I have in my life today is in direct proportion to the people that I give to and listen to and help when they're ready. Case in point, many years ago, I met a guy. I got to make it quick though. He looked at me. He became he was my mentor, my life coach at the time. But I was hungry. I was ready for more. And I sat him down for lunch because I wanted to find out how he got where he got. Extremely successful. And it's like did his insides really match his outsides? What I've seen on the outside. It turns out they did. So he wanted and agreed to work with me. You know, one of those when the student's ready, the teacher will appear thing. He looked at me as I'm looking at you, Sean. Here's what he said. Russell, are you willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do so you can have them become the things that most people will never have and never become? And he shut up. That was a close, man. And I bought into it, and he agreed to work with me as long as I took his suggestions. And he said, I'm going to get you so far outside of your comfort zone. And what you don't realize is that life is really at the edge of the comfort zone. It's not in your comfort zone, but I'm going to push you. And if you don't take my suggestions, don't call me. I won't work with you anymore. And the first thing he did, and he said, you'll listen to me. In 1 year, your life will transform. And he gave me a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, who's the grand poobah of all self-help books today, in my opinion. And he had some instructions. And the short is, in 6 months, my life completely transformed and set me on a trajectory that, one, got me out of the car business and got me into the vendor space so I could be in charge of my own destiny because I was driven. I was ready to do that. But it included learning how to become a servant leader and helping other people. And I didn't really realize what that meant. It sounds like one thing, but it's different to make a commitment to get up every day and do the things that you don't necessarily want to do, or you not want to do, or you do want to do, or you don't feel like it. You get up and you do it anyway, because the dream is big enough. The facts don't count.
Man, you should just drop your mic. I should end the show and we should move on with our day.
No, but we're gonna expound more on that at your conference, though, aren't we?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So, like, we've talked about this part of it. We've touched on the conference, and you're coming into the show with our friends, Chameleon Limited. You guys are coming together, doing a joint operation here at the event with service. And folks, they're the closers. Like, I don't put, I specifically pick this agenda so everyone knows. I form it all out. I've been working on it for 11 months. From the time the last show ends, I'm already started on this, ladies and gentlemen, and service is always on my freaking mind. Russell, what can you tease out for us, what you and the Chameleon folks are going to be bringing to the stage in Madison, September 22nd?
Well, we're going to be talking about data. We're going to be talking about customer pay. We're going to be talking about retention. We're going to be talking about conquest. We're going to be talking about the numbers, the things that count, that matter, that make a difference. We're going to talk about lead generation. We're going to talk about being leader. We're going to talk about managing. We're going to talk about going to the next level and understanding just what's going on in the marketplace now. And there's a huge pivot going on. Let me tell you why. We're going to talk about EV, AI, and we're going to talk about connected services, because right now, those are things that the independents can't do. This is a critical juncture in time in our lives with fixed operations, because they don't have the skill set or expertise or the data from the OEM to understand what's taken place because of AI and the accelerator, what's taken place in the next year that you want to find out and be a part of. You're going to have to go to the show, the conference, to find that out, John.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Bringing the special, bringing the energy, bringing the information. Russell, I'm really excited to get you guys out there. Like I say, it's a show that means a lot to us. It's something that we've done to try and bring the industry together. That's why it's called Being Social, folks. You're there to be social. You're there to work with one another and
That's
learn.
right.
And this year's Road to the Sale, why wouldn't it end with service? Because the road to the sale, that's where it ends for them. But then the road to retention, my friends, begins.
That's right.
So much time and money is wasted on the acquisition of new customers.
Wasted
when you could put that effort into retaining the ones you got.
But
Also,
it doesn't have to, because if you have the right leadership that we've talked about a few minutes ago. So we'll talk more about that too, Sean. Thank you.
Buddy, you're great. I love it. And folks, if you missed the leadership versus management piece here, you should hit rewind, go back to, I think, like minute 9 or 10, and listen to what the difference between a leader and a manager is. Because most of you think you're one, but you're probably the other. Sorry, not sorry. Russell Hill, thank you so much for your time. And you have been awesome.
Love it. I love you. I love all of you out there.
Russell, we appreciate it. Folks, where can they find Russell Hill? Where's Russell Hill doing all of his work right now?
He's doing it. Here's my cell number. Shh, don't tell anybody. 903-819-5253. Or you can Russell, RUSSEL, at fixedopsmarketing.com. That's FIXEDOPS marketing.com. Boom.
And you can find them all over LinkedIn, where you can find me, where you can find this show. Russell, thank you so much. Shout out to Charity for getting this set up. Charity, thank you so much.
Thank you, Charity. We love you.
We love you. Russell, we'll see you September 22nd, Madison, Wisconsin, my man.
Looking forward to it, Sean. Thank you.
Everybody have a great day and a great week. And join me next week on the show, where, guess what? More people talking about why you need to come to Being Social. Have a great week.